How young are you, Matt?
Well, you know what? Actually, nobody really knows. People are like, oh, wow, he looks like he could be 18 or he could be like 30. So I'm like, okay, you know, black does not crack. And so.
Hey guys, welcome back to the FBE Podcast. This is episode 17. I guess the last podcast we could drive. I don't know what we can do at 17 necessarily.
Ooh. Go to R-rated movie.
Oh, yeah. Or worse. Like NC-17 movie. Can't you get in at 17?
You can see Showgirls now.
Yes. If you want to. If you want
Who would want to?
You just heard the sultry, dulcet tones of our special guest this week. Would you like to say hello to those listening to the audio version?
Hello, everybody. My name is Matt Smith. On YouTube, I am DangMattSmith. And people say I have a face for radio. So
So does he have to announce himself to the people that are watching? Well, because that was for the people listening.
Yeah.
Oh,
do you want to give a different? You want to give a different intro? So if you're listening to this, check out the full video version on the FBE channel for this part of the intro. Go. Let's take it again.
Yes, please. Hey, everybody. My name's Matt Smith, and on YouTube, I am DangMattSmith, and you know, all the cool kids are doing it. So.
And alongside, in a very extra special podcast, we have both Benny. Say hello.
Hey, hey, hey.
Benny, yay!
Wow. Thank you. Finally, after all this time of forgetting to introduce me, I get some applause. It's good times.
And Rafi.
I don't get applause.
So we have both Benny and Rafi on this episode. So
first time in a while.
Yeah,
it's been both of us.
All three of us.
Well, that's part
together.
And the 5% help us out in case you see this comment or see people curious in the future. It's actually for a reason that there was the three of us in the first place on this podcast because schedules are so crazy. We were like, okay, if the three of us do it, then at least two of us will probably be around week to week
for the rest
to always try and make sure the podcast happens.
And we've succeeded in that there has at least been 2 out of the 3 every time. So
good job, guys.
So hopefully that's why. So
we're all here for you.
Yes.
We're all here for you.
Finally.
Yes, very few have gotten the full trio. But if you don't see Benny one week, or you don't see me one week, or you don't see Rafi, it's probably part of the plan. Anyway, we're incredibly happy and ecstatic to have Matt on.
I just realized something.
Yes.
This is only the second time we've had a YouTuber on, and both have been named Matt. We have Matt Pat.
What?
And
conspiracy.
now you. So this is it.
So it's only Matt's from here on out.
Yeah, it is. Nobody else.
Gotta call Matt Santoro.
Yeah, sorry. I gotta get him.
I was like automatically my brain started going. It's like Betty's gonna beat me to it. Like, I gotta figure out a Matt. Gotta figure out a Matt.
Gotta get those jokes out quick.
But we're gonna be talking all about, obviously, Matt's been in a bunch of our stuff, and we want to talk more about him and what he's been up to and what he's been doing, as well as answer a ton of your questions. So the main reason we have this show each week is to hang out with you guys for a longer period of time and actually kind of respond more directly to some of your feedback and questions that come in. Use the hashtag FBE Podcast if you have a question, and it could be about our shows, it can be about our staff, about the reactors, about YouTube in general, about the industry, about anything, about life. We're here to answer your questions.
We're opening this up to life advice.
Well, we're all going to Mars soon, guys. I mean, Elon Musk,
Did he say who, though? Who is going to Mars?
The rich people are going to Mars, I think.
Well,
because they can.
I'll allow it.
Okay.
Did you guys ever see that Future M episode where they have that arc and they're trying to decide who actually gets to go on the arc, and they have they put their chip in and it tells them whether or not they're a class of person that it can actually get into the arc? No.
Who thinks that we would who would get into that?
Oh, not me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, right. You're getting in?
They know they need my they have been listening to me all this time about how I understand about the future of the human race, and they need my thoughts.
Why would they bring you just so that you could help the robot overlords overthrow humanity faster?
Because the people that are handling this know that that's our future, and we're not there yet because it's happening so fast. Because Elon Musk is saying that he wants to do it really soon. So like
2024, I think he said we were going to be on Mars by 2020.
Rafi for Mars president.
I'm actually going to
King Rafi.
No,
he's with it.
I'm with it.
Knows.
We can do it.
I'm actively campaigning against him. I do not want to assist in any part of.
But you do realize that if someone like a YouTuber would go to Mars, once they got there, they would probably become one of the most subscribed channels, if not number one, because everyone's going to be like, hey, I'm vlogging from Mars. How do you not subscribe to that?
Right. Well,
Matt Damon was great in The Martian. He was
He's a good
kind of
vlogger in that,
It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Who was the colonel? There was an astronaut on the space station that was an amazing
the
social
songs
media
and stuff.
He was doing songs. He was doing Q&As. He was doing
He was in
live
like a
streams.
spoiler or two here.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He's back on Earth now, so he's not. No one cares.
Nobody
Matt,
cares.
Matt, the real question.
Yes.
Do you think you could get up to Mars? Do you think you could convince
The
them?
real question is, would I want to go to Mars?
Oh, interesting.
Ooh.
What do they have to have up there before you consider going?
They would have to have some really, really good food.
Okay.
I would want something.
balanced breakfast.
Yeah, a balanced breakfast. I want some cereal and some toast. But,
Some banana bread.
Yeah, some banana bread. That's all if you guys don't know, I really like banana bread. It's a staple in my life.
He has a P.O. box. Send him some banana bread.
I saw a
Yes,
picture of
please.
some delicious banana bread recently that had chocolate chips like embedded throughout it, and I was like, chocolate chip banana bread.
Yes.
I've never tried it before, but I mean, if they have that on Mars, I'm going. I'm going tomorrow.
It's a coin flip for me. I can't quite figure out. It depends, I guess, what they need.
I apologize for veering off the
It's okay.
conversation.
So let's get the podcast back on track. So, fairly in a concise way,
Let us know if you think you'd go to Mars. Leave a
Comment
comment.
Get us some
let's
comments.
just keep
All right,
talking
go,
about Mars.
Betty.
Let's add it to the list. We're going to now do a Mars podcast along with the Disney
Elon
podcast.
Musk.
What was the musical podcast with Raina and me? That was one of them too. There's so many podcasts that I want to do one day. So for people who are not as familiar, can you talk about like how long you've been on YouTube, what you do on YouTube, and kind of like where you're at even in the subscriber count right now and all that. So a quick little, who's Matt Smith?
Yes. So long story short, I've been doing YouTube for 6 years, started in August 2011. And I originally started doing skits, and then I kind of moved on from that to, doing some random challenges. And then I started doing these chat roulette Omegle videos and, randomly talking to people online for entertainment. And, that did well, helped grow the channel, and people really liked it, but it wasn't as, clean. So, that's why I've been
that conversation with you at VidCon. Yes.
Is this an advertiser-friendly conversation, or what do you mean by clean?
Well, there's certain, people who would either say or do things that weren't completely brand friendly, online.
Okay,
so,
all right.
Especially for a teenager that was making this content.
Right. Exactly. So
brands were staying away from that. Yeah.
So I had to change it up, and that's what I've been working on this year, especially is cleaning up slowly but surely, cleaning up my content, making it more family friendly, and there's still some kinks in there, but we're getting through them, and I've been doing a lot of reaction type videos lately, and it's been working out. It's been channel's still steadily growing, and I'm having fun.
Oh, it's been amazing watching you grow.
Big ride.
It's been doing really well.
Wow, thank you.
And then being able to have you over onto YouTubers React and everything too. But it's always a pleasure.
Can you talk
to
a little
work
bit
with
to the, you mentioned like you started with like the more sketches and things like that, which even we used to do sketches a long time ago. So even with the way you were making them, which probably wasn't as much production value as what we were maybe doing, there's still, can you talk about the reality of like, you even saw this is not sustainable because of what that takes, and YouTube has changed from that time period to now where you just can't make the more produced stuff and be sustainable.
Right. I feel like YouTube, they want, more quantity than quality, and with sketches it took more time. You had to write out the script, and then get multiple people in the video, and record it and make sure it's nice and funny, edit it comedically, and I don't know, it's just sketches. They take more time because it's like, oh, let me get a close up here, and then let me get this angle, that angle. But for a lot of my sketches, I tried to keep it as simple as I could and just do one shot and just try to keep it,
good couch shot.
Yeah.
Good couch.
If you have a good couch, you have a good couch,
You can
that's the
maybe still do
key.
scripted content on YouTube.
Right, that's the key. Just have a
couch, good lighting.
For some reason, that stands out to me. Of like, there were a few sketches that like it was you and a girl and like on a couch.
It was the couch. It was the good. Yes, it was the good.
It wasn't
couch.
about the girl. The couch. It's a good couch thumbnail shot.
It was about the comedy. Yeah, it was about the comedy. Yeah.
So every time I think about like our history with you, it comes into how both Rafi and myself have different stories of VidCon's past.
Right.
Where an even younger Matt Smith would come to our panels. I felt like you came to our panels every year at VidCon, and then you'd come up and again, we weren't, because they kind of at a certain point stopped putting us on the same panel. It got weird. I don't know why with us and not other duos, but like they would be like, oh, you're speaking on one panel, you're speaking on another panel.
Too much.
But then we would both talk afterwards, like, do you know this kid? And I'd be like, and then I'd be like, show me his YouTube channel. Oh no, I totally remember him. Yeah, he talked to me last year at VidCon. Like, so very memorable conversations with you. But can you talk about? Can you even walk us through that? Because I don't know the whole story. Were you purposely coming to the panels to talk to us?
Yeah. Well, you know, I was coming to the panels to talk to you guys, but also, you know, I wanted to hear your guys' input, and I felt that I could actually learn something. And, you know, because you guys, I did. I really did. Yeah. I really felt that I could learn something, and because I know, you know, you guys have been around, you know, for a while, and I was just still trying to find my way. And I had known, became friends with Eric from Teens React and Tom, and, you know, me and Eric had gone, you know, to the panel. I was like, yeah, let's go. You know, we'll just listen. And
I remember this.
Yeah, Eric, he was kind of looking at me like, all right, don't embarrass me now. He was like, all right, come on now, come on. And it got to the question, you know, Q&A part of the panel. And, you know, Mike was going around, and then I, you know, raised my hand and got the mic, and I stood up proudly, looked around, and, you know, asked my question. And I'm really glad it was memorable, because at the time I was thinking that, I'm like, they're not going to remember me. I'm just, you know, just another face.
Do you remember what the question was, Mike?
You know what? I think I want to say I asked 2 questions. I know one of them was what would I have to do to get on YouTubers React. That was it. And then Eric was just like, yeah. So, yeah, that was the question. Then, you know, Benny gave a great answer, and, you know, just.
There was also a question about growing your channel and things like that. But that was the thing. But then we had a longer talk after the panel and I feel like I talked to you at another VidCon also.
Yeah.
And then I know you had a longer conversation even with Rafi, that you had now gotten to a place on YouTube where you have established more, that then led to like it finally coming to fruition.
Yes.
And you are now on YouTubers React fairly often these days.
Yes.
So what is that?
And even
we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
So what has that been like, where you go from like you're coming to VidCon, you're a small channel at the time, you've ended up becoming friends with people who work with us, you're coming to like talk to us about these things, you're half joking in your question at one point about how do I get on YouTubers React, and then you grew your channel to a place where now you're on YouTubers React, we totally know you, and you're on this podcast.
Yes. I'm stoked about it, to be honest. It's dreams come true.
Stop that.
We got deep dreams come true. But in reality, I've been watching you guys for the longest time, you know, big inspiration, and I've been a fan for the longest time, and I felt that if I just worked hard, late nights, early mornings, that, you know, I could grow my channel, you know, just keep getting those views up on the videos, and that, you know, I'd be able to, I felt that I had something to offer, you know. I felt like my personality was, you know, a little bit different enough to kind of, you know, add to the reactions. And I started doing reactions on my channel. I was like, okay, I think I can, you know, kind of contribute something there. So, yeah.
No, you, like, in the sense of you feeling like you do have something, you have whatever you would call it. It's like Hollywood. You got it. You got it.
You got it.
You got super stage presence. Like that's how I would always describe in terms of you.
Wow.
You have great stage presence.
Oh, thank you.
When you're on screen, people gravitate towards you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and so even in the sense of seeing from your sketches to all the content that you do, it's just it's been apparent of you being somebody of being like, well, he's going to be able to find his way to be successful. And, you know, you're young yet, which surprises the hell out of the company here. Because
I could not believe it because a lot of like the producers and stuff, like you've become kind of friendly with a lot of people here.
Yeah.
And they had no idea
how young you were.
Oh, I feel bad now. Well, I mean, you know, it's just like it's just a thing where I feel bad. I'm not trying to deceive.
How young are you, Matt?
Well, you know what? Actually, nobody really knows. I haven't told, you know, people in my videos just because.
Age reveal. Reveal.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about for the longest time.
Instead of a face reveal.
Right. I felt that I would do an age reveal and give like have some giveaway or something, like, all right, whoever guesses it right. But to be honest, it became a thing where people are like, oh, wow, he looks like he could be 18 or he could be like 30. So I'm like, okay, you know, black does not crack. And so I'm like, I felt pretty good about myself.
With your age and like the idea of a lot of advice that we've given over the years, it's just like that. And I know that Benny was telling me that he recently was giving some of this advice to you again.
Yeah,
but
when
like
you were last taping, yeah.
But that you have such an opportunity. One, we say always you have a responsibility.
Right.
You do. You have a responsibility to, you know, do well on the platform and do right by the community, et cetera. But you also have such an opportunity being so young to have a way to find what are going to be the big formats that you create and the great characters you come up with. Like there's so much time to be able to do that now, especially because you've now gotten yourself to a place where you know that you have things that work and now you can kind of like utilize those and keep doing them. And those were the conversations that we had with people like Jax Films and Danebo with Annoying Orange, and these were and like what we were going through of being like, okay, establish things and then start to play. And I feel like you're in a great position now to be able to be like, great, I have all this stuff that I'm making, and now I get to figure out what are going to be the things that really stand out and elevate the platform. What can you do? What will you bring, Matt Smith?
Right.
I actually have a question here that's directly related to that Matt can answer, and then maybe we can spin off on. But oh dear God, Harutyunyan.nune on Instagram. How do you find the balance of getting the content you want to put in your channel versus what the subscribers want for more views? So I don't know if you can start that.
Right. For me anyway, it's been just about brainstorming and, you know, like they mentioned in the question, finding that balance of what you want to do versus what people want you to do. And, you know, you get to try stuff out, and sometimes I would want to just talk to camera, and then I tried that a long time ago. Didn't really work at the time, so I had to compromise, and I was like, okay, well, you know, maybe these chat roulette Omegle videos might work, and it worked, and I was cool doing them. So I did that for a while, and then after I kind of built an audience off of that. I'm like, all right, now I can slowly kind of shift and then try other things, and it's the same with the reaction channels, or with the reaction videos that I'm doing that, but now I've built an audience that's a lot nicer, and they're a lot more willing to, you know, let me do other things, and
versus more of, I guess, a troll, like the Omegle stuff brought in more like
it was more like
troll-like behavior, or like that they like to see people get like angry, or they
wanted some controversy, and nowadays my audience it's mainly kids, younger kids, so you know, they're just a lot nicer, a lot more easygoing. The comments are
we were talking about a little bit though
until they get older and cheated.
But that we were talking about how even inside of that, you find that there's certain types of topics that you know will always do the best, but you also either don't always have the right thing to react to, or you don't necessarily want to all the time. So what about that balance of like, you know, that even inside of that, this works the best, but you don't want to do it all the time. How do you deal with that? Because we deal with that a lot.
Yeah, because one of my series is Funniest Kid Test Answers. I'm up to like 12 or 13 of them that I've done so far, because they really liked it, and
they keep asking for
it, so I kept doing it, and I was fine doing them. I'm still cool doing them, but I want to do other things, and to deal with it, I just, you know, I really just look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, all right, you got to find something, you know, that people are gonna like, and also that you really like. So I kind of start with, I'll look at the comments, see what people are suggesting, and really, you know, say like, oh, okay, that would be cool, and just think it out and try to figure out, you know, because I'm not really, I guess not yet, I'm not like, this is what I want to do and this is all I want to do, but it's more, okay, oh, I'm cool doing that, I'm cool doing that. And
it's interesting what Matt kind of first spoke to, even when he was trying to think about what he wanted to do versus what the audience wanted to do. The chat roulette Omegle stuff is him kind of finding that marriage of, okay, this is how I package the thing I want to do in a way that I think audiences will actually understand, versus potentially just like wildly experimenting or kind of like forcing something upon them. Yeah.
It plays into the idea of what we've talked about on the podcast before, of opening up to the audience a little bit about like, there are these shows that we know that everybody wants so badly, and we need to also like even make things that we know are going to get a certain amount of views to be able to even fund the operation and people's salaries here, etc. And it becomes, this is the amount of content we can make with these amount of people with this amount of money on YouTube in this way. And we can't like all of a sudden make another 5 different things, and we can't test necessarily. And we have so much audience that'll be pissed if we end up not doing these, you know, 8 different shows that we do. You're one person and your time, just so we have this whole team that gets to do 15 videos a week, and we get to kind of decide and move and shift, but we get stuck at 15.
Right.
You're having to be your face, your personality that people want, and you're that way with kids test answers. and you get it to veer out of those things while maintaining the audience and not pissing them off and keeping them along the journey is difficult.
And you can't win at the same time because you have the people that love that format and they want it all the time to the point they're going to complain if it's not there. Then you have the other side of your audience that probably is like, all you do is these videos and I where's the other stuff that I like, but they don't realize the reason why. Look at the view count. It's a true reality. We say this all the time. Truly, if you love Matt, you've got to watch every video because that will allow him to then pick and choose the type of things to do.
An algorithm plug, not from the homepage. Go to his actual page and watch it. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah, no, and Benny, we were talking about this the other week, how it's, you know, you really have to essentially get people to like you as a person and, you know, not so much, hey, they like this video that you do. You know, I want people to like, you know, my personality and like, oh, hey, Matt's just so cool. As long as he's in the video, I'm good with, you know, whatever he does within reason. So that's
why reason. And that's why maybe you need to find what that format is where you are talking to them more often.
Right. Yeah.
As you, not inside of the video, but like you as you updating them about yourself.
Which is what we're trying to do with things like the podcast and which is like the only place you pretty much see me and Rafi on camera, but it's not really about that. It's about how to let people into the company. And that's it's this similar problem in a totally different way, right? And that's where the vlog on the second channel that you were in the other week too. That like we're doing all these things to try to, how do you get the audience in to care so much about the whole company that they want to watch everything, or more percentage of them want to watch everything. Right. It's so concentrated when it's an individual person. It's just you. But similar type of thing. How do you get them to care so much about you?
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, you know, just kind of like, I mean, being funny, of course, you know, because when you're funny and they're like, oh man, I like him, he makes me laugh and stuff. And that was one of the things I try to do is, you know, if I can make people's day better, you know, I feel like they'll like me somewhat if I make them laugh. And the other thing was just, I try to tell them stories sometimes, you know, within a video. I'll say like, oh man, this happened to me. I can't believe, you know, this and stuff like that. Just try to being relatable as much as I can. And, you know, while keeping it
being in
clean.
The format.
Yeah, in the format. And clean. Right. Yeah. Being in format, but also, being
Did the Omega
relatable.
videos get hit by a lot of demonetization?
You know what? So
or not so much?
It did, but now they have the system where it's, you know, they'll have like the
yellow.
Yeah, they'll have the yellow $sign next to it. And then you can get it reviewed and, you know, some... Yeah, so
this is the whole change that YouTube went through, which was they kind of scanned the website in a lot of ways, or depending on your channel already having dings on it from various times, different people got hit very badly in different ways. So I'm always interested of like, you know, that those videos had a specific idea behind them. Of, well, these go a bit too far. Did YouTube do well by grabbing those versus other videos? Right.
Well, I mean, it's gotten better. I'll say that. It's gotten a whole lot better. It started off where, you know, the majority of those videos, you know, the Omegle and chat roulettes were, you know, they were marked. And I guess it was just because of the idea of, hey, you're video chatting with somebody random. But now that they have the new system in place, it's gotten better at, I've even, you know, rewatched some of my videos. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, I see how that's not advertiser friendly. And I went through all of them. And now it's gotten a lot better. You know, a lot of them are monetized still. And yeah, I'm still keeping it.
No, it's good to have that reality because of like realizing, oh no, I get it. Versus I think a lot of other people sometimes just get so upset at the whole concept. They can't look past the reality of, hey, maybe not everything should be monetized on the website.
Right.
But anyway, we probably have to move on to so many different things.
John?
Want to bring up quickly though, that we've talked about it a bunch, that Matt is actually in that project that we talked about with Tom on the podcast that has that branching narrative, choose your own adventure type thing. You're
so great.
You're incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Like, talk about stage presence. And I think I even wrote you an email not too long after being like, I don't know what it is, but we got to develop something scripted to do with you because you're so funny and you're such a good actor.
Thank you.
And like you just kill it. I can't wait for people to be able to see how funny you are in this thing.
Eventually, right, Betty? Like we teased this like 2 or 3 times.
I know. We're still finding out. It's a pilot. They got to figure out where and how it's going to air. But you're so good in it.
Yeah.
Last question. Do you deal with a lot of Doctor Who fans confused on your channel?
You know what? The sad...
God, Ben, that's a big question.
One of the sad parts is that right after I made my channel, I had the name DangMattSmith. people started commenting. They're like, "Hey, wait, when did Doctor Who get a YouTube channel?" I was like, "No." And at the time, I didn't really know that much about Doctor Who, and I was just like, "Okay, is there somebody else named Matt Smith?" And come to find out, you know, the most famous Matt Smith is Doctor Who. And
see, now you understand a little bit of my struggle, just a little bit, because I'm John Green. Okay, I'm John Green on YouTube, which means I'm nobody. I have never.
You'll never have a chance.
Oh no, my God! My whole Twitter feed is turtles all the way down, and I'm like, oh, great, another year of irrelevance. Like, hey, look, I can't wait to read it. I'm sure it's going to be a phenomenal book. Like, but that's one of my first stories was when I was friends with them early on. I saw them tweeting somebody called The Real John Green, and I got angry at them because I didn't know who this.
This was at VidCon #1. Wow. We treated it thanks to that.
And I remember thinking, like, guys, come on, you know me. You know John Green. Why are you giving credit to some other fake John Green? And I think I clicked on his name, and even at the time, he had 1 million followers, and I was like, oh well, F me. Like, I'm not like that's it for me. It's Matt Smith, John Green. We should have a podcast of just people with famous names that are not those people.
Wow.
Okay. I was gonna ask if like you watch. Benny gets angry when I ask certain fandom related questions, but I was just curious if you actually watched Doctor Who. I know these guys did a lot.
You know, I didn't all that much, to be honest. But I started watching it as, you know, more and more people were like, "Oh, Doctor Who, Doctor Who." I was like, he's not even on it anymore. So I'm like, why do I keep getting these comments? But yeah, no, I like it.
I feel like we probably should talk about, because we're filming this on Monday, where just horrible things have happened in the world. Not to bring everything down, but like this is being recorded. I think it is fresh in all of our minds of what happened in Vegas today.
Or last night.
And last night, yeah. And all I know is like we're gonna have links in the description for things like donating of whatever can be done. There's been just a lot of horrible tragedies in the last few weeks, not just here, but around the world. And it definitely, these things hit not just close to home. It just hits in this human element, at least for me, of just so like
going in your day by day and all these things.
Just literally any day. You know, there's no difference between what happened to everyone there than to any of us living our life on a day-to-day basis. And it makes you think, but it also is like the sad reality that my post on my personal Facebook was like, and this is just going to keep happening again and again and again, because it's just like nothing is being done. Like nothing is being done, and it's just going to keep happening. So
it's the Onion headline that gets reposted every time that there's a massive, shooting or something that's like, no way to avoid this, says country where this constantly happens.
I think it says, I think it's like only country where this actually happens.
Yeah.
And I think it's been like 4 or 5 times now over the years that the Onion will always post with a different image of what city it was saying that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's not going to be this figured out on this podcast, but there's like nothing even to say. It's just so bad.
I think there's an interesting element of it happening in this current age and in this current time with social media, especially, where it really does feel like the world has gotten a lot smaller in ways, and you're able to experience and read and hear about these tragedies happening like across the globe as if they're happening kind of right in front of you. And I think there used to be, maybe like before Twitter and before some of these like YouTube, it used to be a little bit more distance. You see or read about it in the paper or on the news, and now everything is so visceral that like literally last night, like I was watching Twitter videos like as they were happening, like that I'm just like, this is a ridiculous time to kind of even be alive and be experiencing these things, because it's putting you in the moment in these events wherever they're happening. And man, it's tough. But yes, I don't know. Links will definitely be in the description. I know there's a Las Vegas Victims Fund. We've linked to the Puerto Rican hurricane relief efforts going on there, and also the Hispanic Heritage Foundation that's supporting the earthquake release efforts in Mexico as well. So
yeah, definitely just want to say, I mean, aside from condolences, that we don't want things like this to happen just so like, oh, it happens, all right, now we have to come together. We always want to be together already, and like we mentioned, it's gonna keep happening, but we just want to like stand together, constantly be helping each other out as much as we can, and
because it will keep happening.
Yeah, and that's the thing all the time of like how I've said this about other things a lot of like, well, what can you do? Like even like when it comes to this is like a horrible tragedy, but even things like bullying and like there's so many of these types of things that you end up getting you get helpless, and you get that moment of like, this is bigger than me, or this didn't impact me. What am I supposed to do? And I've often told people or fans that'll sometimes write distraught about things of like, in your own life, all you can really control is who you know and how you treat other people. And imagine the more and more people that do those types of things of like the idea of like, well, you're not going to do that. And you are going to reach out to people that disagree with you, and you are going to have that conversation that's difficult. And if we don't do that now, even though it's a long road, like that's the quote unquote quicker road to a better tomorrow, even if it takes 50, 60, 100 years, if enough people just start having those uncomfortable conversations and being willing to just be nicer to each other. As cliche as that sounds, there's a reality of like the fact that you have to think about like, oh, that person's really nice shows just how not nice so many people are.
There's my favorite, like, you know, in quote or video whenever this stuff comes up is actually Mr. Rogers talking about how his mom used to tell him, like, in these events of tremendous tragedy, like, look towards the helpers. Like, they're going to be on the sideline. There's going to be this giant heinous thing in front of you that's happening. But if you look towards the periphery, if you look towards the people like running towards the help, or the people trying to help, and you focus on those people, and the more the media can focus on those people and those first responders, or just the normal humans, the normal civilians trying to help in the moment, and you focus on the humanity versus the inhumanity, it really kind of gives you motivation to kind of like move forward and feel some kind of solace and unity and, you know, good in the face of evil. So like I really encourage folks to, you know, look up that video or like listen to those words, because look to the helpers can help you get through a lot of heavy bad stuff. So anyway, yes, links in the description for sure for more info on how to help. Okay, I just gave blood for the first time last week, which I had never done before. I don't know why. I think I thought it was super weird or complicated or was going to hurt or something. I don't know. I just hate getting blood like taken and like physicals. But I went to the Children's Hospital in LA, and it was amazing. Like, I just lied in this chair, and they just fed me cookies and juice.
Yeah, they're so
and
nice
like
to you.
literally like 10 minutes later, they're like, "You're good." I'm like, "Sweet." Like, so anyway, like not every place maybe will be as nice, but I can vouch for the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. Right. So even if you're not in Las Vegas or you're somewhere, like there is a local hospital that's desperately, you know, looking for blood for sure. So cool. You want to get back into?
Well, did you have more things, or do we have questions?
we should get to the questions from the fans.
Cool. Let's see. One that I can answer quickly, coming from Aurora Menendez over on YouTube. How long does it take to produce, edit, and upload the podcast? It's a good question. Right now, I'm the only producer on the only podcast. I hope in success there will be more.
There will be other processes, but currently.
But yeah, right now in terms of like pre-production, I probably spend about an hour working with the team to gather various questions from across our social media. We tend to ask for stuff on the day we're filming, which is on Mondays, across, you know, in Snapchat and Instagram and Twitter, and we look to the comments on the previous episodes for people using the FBE Podcast hashtag to pull the questions that we can use for that episode related to the company or related to our guests. And then we also do the same thing, pulling countries that people are listening from for the shout outs as well. So probably about an hour or so there. Then it takes us roughly an hour and a half to film these. Thanks to our tremendous help from Jay and Oscar and our PA and production management team. And then I'm ecstatic to have Sean on board our engagement team, who's our new junior editor, who actually helps me edit this, because prior to this, it was also me editing this after shooting this.
But see, that goes right into how we've talked about a lot of like, oh, you have so many people. Can't you just do this or that?
No,
even just to do like a simple podcast. We're in Rafi's office because we have nowhere to film it. John, who runs finance here, okay, is also dealing with the engagement team and is also editing the podcast.
I will say the only reason I'm able to do any of this is due to tremendous help from folks like Dev and Keisha and Jeff, who basically like keep so much running in finance to be able to have me have any bandwidth to do any of this stuff. But yeah, probably about 2.5 hours to edit the podcast, we strip out an audio version for like SoundCloud and iTunes, and then we put up the video version up on YouTube on Fridays. And then probably another hour or so there to come up with descriptions and titles and do the thumbnail and all that other stuff that you need to actually promote and release the thing. So not a huge chunk of time, but certainly much more time than you'd think to just kind of like turn on a camera. I know we have to build a system so that Benny can literally just turn on a camera from the corner of his room.
Then I'll do 8 podcasts a week.
And then Benny will just rant by himself. And whoever walks into his office while he's recording will be the special guest that day.
Matt, do you tend to have a, like, you know, at least what your process is, or you're able to at this point because you've been doing it for long enough to go, well, I need to section out this amount of time in my week, and I know as long as I section out that amount of time, I'm gonna have a video. Do you have that at this point?
Yeah. You know, I recently got an editor who's, you know, helped take off a lot on my plate.
Awesome.
Not as much on my plate, but
there's so many people that we have to have that like heart to heart with of like get an editor.
Where it starts.
And also like, you know, be an employer, like have somebody have a job. Like it's a good thing to be doing in the world.
help people.
Yeah.
And to be honest, my editor, he has a team, so we're like employing more people. So it's about 5 editors total who will go through a video and like, you know, edit, and then they'll look it over and like, oh, okay, this is funny, but you should add this too. And then they kind of collectively working together to really, you know, try to make a as funny video as possible. And to be honest, for me to film each of my videos, I'm a little perfectionist-y, so it'll take about 35-40 minutes to actually film it. And then I don't know if you want to get into the complicated process, but basically I send it to him via Dropbox. I'll get the footage, but I'll convert it to like a smaller, you know, a smaller format and everything. And then he edits it, sends it back to me, and then I'll, you know, deal with the high res version of it, and I can go through and edit, make any tweaks and everything. So it works out pretty well. It takes about 4 or 5 hours to edit.
We get super nerdy on this podcast.
Yes,
what are you editing in?
You know what? Nobody uses it, but it's called Sony Vegas, and it's a much simpler version of like, you know, Adobe. So, you know, my editor actually had to learn Sony Vegas because I was like, I want to be able to go through. Yeah, I was like, I want to be able to go through, make any tweaks that I want, and rather than him exporting the whole file and, you know, taking even more time. Right. So so it's been working out.
Yeah,
cool. Matt, I don't actually know if you've ever covered any anime stuff, but Harutyunyan over on YouTube was wondering when do they see us covering more anime content?
Oh, I thought it was like a direct question.
Yeah,
I was like,
no. I'm like, I'm a fan.
Is there an anime that you just love that you're not quite sure?
You know, the anime stuff gets kind of specific of when it ends up being large enough to cover and enough of the audience is going to appreciate it, because also being just gigantic anime fans, it's like I don't want to do a disservice to covering an anime. And so we end up getting requests a lot for different animes, but, you know, it hasn't really crossed over into that territory as much, except for Attack on Titan and One Punch Man, and I'm trying to think of what else we've ended up.
Well, we've done things on other formats when they were around.
Yeah.
Like One Punch Man and Tokyo Ghoul were things that happened on the old spoiler format. But I think Attack on Titan's really like the only straight up anime reaction video that we've done.
You know what would really help, and this, you know, you can seed this out. If you're one of the anime fans on the channel, we have a lot. And if you want to seed this out also to other anime fans that might not be listening or watching the podcast, what would be really helpful is to understand in that show, what are you looking for us to do? And because these shows are so vast and they're so complicated that like it becomes, what exactly are you going to be happy with enough? Because what I also don't want is for the anime community and again, being such a big fan, to not even like
respect it or think we're just doing it for the views or we're doing it in an incorrect way. And certain things are very cut and dry in the beginnings, like Attack on Titan, because it had one season, it allowed it to be a little bit easier and also had the highlight moments.
The topic was so easy to understand for anybody that might not even know it, that like if we're basically going to show the opening theme, you pretty much know what the hell's going on because they literally tell you the whole damn story in the opening theme.
And you also need to be reminded of what we aren't doing, at least yet. We're not doing anime fans react, and I think the K-pop community needs to understand that too. A lot of like, we're not trying to, the show is not everyone who knows something watches something. It is people randomly are chosen to watch something. Some of them know, some of them might not know. And let's talk about what their initial reaction is.
So I would suggest that like, okay, is it the opening theme plus what types of clips do we show? Kind of like we did with Stranger Things or whatever. What would we show and help us to understand what part of the show you think is beneficial and or will help the people that don't know it will see it and get a good taste of what that show is.
And then what should we be, if we've seen the show, it's easier, but if we haven't and we need to do our own research, what is the topic of conversation around that show too? Because there's also, it's not just the video.
So yeah, it gets a little specific.
Let me just get a quick opinion question, follow up just from yours truly. What's a recent, or not a recent anime, maybe recent anime to you guys that you're super, like, you're like, oh, that was really good?
I'd rather say that, like, because I've watched a few episodes and I know it's the #1 thing that people ask for is Yuri on Ice. And it's wonderful. It's great. But again, what exactly are people looking for out of that anime that they would really want to see? Because I think that people are just going to kind of shit on it. Like, and like, I don't think anime people that aren't anime fans are going to actually understand it. Like, I can appreciate it. I totally love it. I don't think people are going to get it. And even the clips that you show, they're going to be like, what? Like, what is this? I don't understand.
And we just can't show them full episodes or seasons worth. Because that becomes the thing too of like, you need to show them the whole season. It's like, we can't do that.
Ain't got time.
Watch this over the next month.
Honestly, that's still like a future hope or dream would be that like a Game of Thrones or, you know, one of the anime companies out there would actually, like Funimation or somebody would want to come and say, you know what, can you watch this entire season of this show with a group and like, you know, having that like a longer reactions and all this stuff. But that stuff hasn't come to fruition yet.
Lokilove.
Are you an anime fan?
You know what? I am, but more so of the old school anime. I'm talking Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, Naruto, and you know, Death Note, of course. But
not the live action.
I mean, I wasn't expecting much with the live action. I watched it. I watched it. But you know, I mean, they made the demon character scary. You know, Rio. They made him scary. You know, I actually jumped a couple times. Yeah.
Lokilove 101 over on Instagram. What advice would you give someone trying to be in the entertainment industry?
Oh, you want to go first? So that's very vast.
Yeah.
YouTube or the industry
I'll just try to be quick so we can get to a more maybe specific question. What we often tell the interns when we have intern town halls at the end of every semester is two sides of it. The one side is you could follow Rafi and my example, which is like not recommended, which is if you want to sacrifice everything that's good about life for a long period of time and not have relationships, not really have friendships, hurt your family relationships, etc. And maybe you're lucky and you have a brother who you're actually doing this with, so you end up maintaining.
Hey, you have a friend,
but you're also enabling each other at the same time. But if we are proof that if you work harder than anybody else, you can will some things to happen. Because a lot of people in the entertainment industry do give up because it's not easy. And there's always going to be that lightning in a bottle moment where someone gets completely famous overnight, and that will happen. But the percentage chance of that doesn't happen. And so you have a shelf life in a lot of ways. And it's a very nomadic city in Los Angeles. People come, people go. And because it just didn't happen fast enough for them and they're not willing to put in the work. So that's one side of it. Not to be advised. The other side is, and this is also not the sexy side of things, which is pick a skill that is not the actor, not the director, not the writer, not the producer. It is like, I'm going to become an editor. I'm going to become a sound engineer. I'm going to become a camera assist or a special effects artist. If you can really hone in on a skill and be really damn good at that skill, you'll always find work. You'll always
And again, that's the entertainment industry. And like, not find success as the biggest YouTube star.
Right, but you'll be able to be part of film or part of YouTube.
You can edit for Matt. You know, like you can work for us.
Exactly. Like there's ways to still be completely part of this, not from the angle of fully the fame side of it, even though for Rafi and myself, it was never about that side of it, but it is that creative force. And if you are open to wanting to be just around this environment, you could be You can be in HR. You can be an accountant. You can do all these things. But at the same time, by osmosis, you can find yourself meeting the right person or having the right opportunity that 10 years down the road, all of a sudden, you're given an opportunity to direct something.
We're going to go through this one quick, supposedly.
Well, that's fine. No, it was quick, but I wanted to piggyback on that just because if you don't necessarily even know that skill or have that specific focus that Benny just gave great advice on, the thing that I always say is just put yourself geographically close to the people that you're fascinated by and want to work with. And for me or other people, like I'm like, I need to be in LA. LA is where the shit is happening. I don't know how, but if I'm there, I can be a part of it because location is like I would say location is a huge part of it. Although in this day and age, like more and more stuff can be done like remotely and from home and everything else. But location is a huge part of it, and effort is a huge part of it. Right. If you put yourself in that area and you're willing to work hard or intern or try out different things or work in parts of the industry that you're not interested in, just for that connection, just for that experience, just to build the resume, you give yourself so much of a leg up on everybody else.
Do you have any advice even specific to YouTube or the industry in general?
Yeah, to be honest, in my experience, it's, as Benny mentioned, you have to want it bad enough because, like you said, there's some people who they'll have that overnight success, but you can't expect that. So it's got to be like, how badly do I want it? I've talked to, from YouTubers to celebrities to rappers to actors who've all said the same thing, but in a different way, where it's like, the reason I'm here is because I wanted this so bad. And, I wanted it.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, I sacrificed and I wanted it more than these other people who
that's so hidden in this day and age. It's so hidden in a day and age where you can literally press a button and like a PlayStation will show up at your door tomorrow. Like it's that effort is like, you see the after version, you see the Instagram version of this person's life and not the struggle that it took to get there. And so that effort, that hard work is like, yes, you're either putting all your chips in hitting the lottery, or you're putting all your chips in how most people got to where they are, which is through incredible hard work and sacrifice. So look, put your chips where you want. Like maybe Black 35 will pay off for you.
35 is very specific.
I think that was also Futurama. I think I'm referencing Futurama multiple times. I watched too much.
Futurama.
I can say Futurama. Like, just leave me alone.
Oh, I even thought that you were saying Future M. And I'm like, I think he might be saying Futurama, but instead I was like, I guess there's a show called Future M.
Whatever.
Shout out to Bender.
Prison Pony on Twitter. I hope you're doing okay. How hard are try not to laughs? How have you guys felt when you've lost?
Well, you've done a bunch of these, both for us and for yourself.
You know what? Yes, I have. And for me, I'm a generous laugher. I laugh fairly easily. I'm always smiling, more often than not. So it's hard for me, and I have to think of, dark times to
ponies.
Yeah, I have to think of prison ponies to not laugh. And it all depends on, do I really want to win or do I want to have fun and be funny? So if I'm serious, then I sacrifice my comedy. So a lot of times I'll just I'll burst out laughing. And
how have you done? Just because I've seen it, I just can't remember in this moment. How have you done on you? Has he been in a YouTubers?
I've been in a couple of them. One has come out, one hasn't come out, but that's okay.
Yeah, I know. I've won one of them.
Okay, so you went dark. You did try to go to your.
You were thinking of prison ponies.
I was thinking of prison ponies.
There's some of the YouTubers that, I guess, because we've had YouTubers react to laugh challenges for a long time, and some of them are some of our most viewed videos. That I remember.
I think one of them passed 50 million.
Yeah, I think it's our most viewed video. Is the very first YouTubers react to try not to smile or laugh. But I've had sometimes YouTubers who have been in a bunch, when they end up doing one, they get really excited about, I'm actually going to be in one of these YouTubers react ones. And I remember when we were filming with Andrea Russet, and when we told her what it was, and I think it made it into the episode, she's like, yes!
I've been watching these.
And then
I've been playing along.
And she just was like, I'm not losing. And she didn't. She pulled it off, but she was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
And so for me, doing it for the first time in Staff React, I've found that I definitely do not outwardly laugh. I do not bust out laughing. My thing is I don't realize how easy it is to make a little and just human, those little things that you just kind of like and then you're like, oh God, that's out. Just a normal that's just like whatever
biological reaction.
Those little things end up spilling out.
I'm terrible at them. I'm just terrible.
I think I've lost most of them that I've been in, but again, I'm in Matt's camp. I would much rather like there's no joy in winning that to me. Like that is just like stopping yourself from appreciating life. Okay, moving on. Let's see. ReactFanBrazil has a very apropos question of like, John, why are you always wearing Brazilian hats?
Except you're not wearing a Brazilian hat right now.
I don't have. I think for most podcasts, I've had some Brazilian.
And everybody asks about it. Yeah.
It's mainly we went to Brazil for the Olympics in 2016 and had an incredible time there, and so I loved every moment that I spent in that country, and we were in Rio primarily, but yeah, I wear that stuff just to make me happy because I think
times,
of like and all the amazing food and the people that we met there, and like it was such an experience. So yes, I always say this, desculpa, eu não falo português, because it means sorry, I don't speak Portuguese. So I say that because when I wear it even around Burbank or other people get so excited, and I'll be like, I'm sorry, I don't speak the language.
Olympic fan?
Yes. Somewhat.
Not nearly as controversial to say no to than anime.
You're only into the winter stuff. You don't like any of the fancy summer stuff.
Yeah, see, exactly. Thank you for saving me there. Much appreciated.
Like, he's just a huge luge fan.
Sports is always the easy one to say, I don't like it online. Because people are like, that's fine.
That's the thing. I like sports, but I mean, Olympics, I watch them, just to be social, but I'm not like, Olympics.
Here's the question.
Go to the Olympics every 4 years.
Wow.
I want everybody to answer this question. I might have asked you guys previously, but if you had to pick the event that and even if it's a 1% or less than 1% chance, but you're like, I've got to pick the event that I have the best shot at potentially not embarrassing myself.
To actually
participate in. If you had to, the whole team dropped out. You're the only American there. They need an American to step in to get.
Or at least you just won't look stupid.
I'm just saying, like, you're going to do the best.
Because you could just do like a marathon or a run, and it's like, true. You'll lose.
No, but that's not what I asked. I said, what event will you do the best in?
What? Like none.
But wait,
I would say curling. I would say curling.
Oh, because
Winter Olympics.
Curling, but you'd still be destroyed.
Yes, but that's out of everything, out of every other sport, that's the one I'd potentially do the best in.
Is there like a video game like Olympics that
maybe one day?
Esports. I think esports will make its way. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess for me, and I would be completely bowled over. No, God no.
Bowling?
I was gonna say
bowling is not an Olympic. The baseball.
Baseball is coming back, I think, but it's currently
doesn't count right now.
I would count it. I would count it. If it's
then it's baseball for sure.
No, not allowed.
No, I'm the one with the hypothetical question around.
If not allowed, I'm going with one that's going to be ridiculous because I'm not that great in the water, but I feel like I could handle water polo a little bit.
Okay, all right.
So I'll go water polo.
Because you're so buoyant.
I'm so buoyant. I float.
You float, yeah.
And there's a lot of different team members. I can probably get by. I just, you just kick and
Rafi, equestrian.
I just gotta say, it is this odd thing. Benny is very buoyant for some odd reason.
Why?
He can float in water, and I don't know how it works.
I don't know how to describe it, but I can put myself in water, and I can position myself just so, take a deep breath, and then I will, without needing to paddle, I will be completely buoyant and float.
I was gonna say, can you just sit in the water like a chair? Like you can sit and
now when
have a cup of tea.
I could, but when the current, if I'm really struggling, I can maintain the position. But if I just let myself go, I'll be buoyant, like up and down for a while, and then eventually I'll just turn one way or another. And just start floating away, but I'll stay floating. I'll never sink.
I don't know.
I bet he can't sit down.
Had to be said. Had to be discussed.
Rafi, your answer?
I'll be destroyed, but I won't look stupid playing tennis.
Okay. Oh, tennis isn't bad.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't be able to hit back one serve probably from those people.
Oh no way.
Have you
right?
Maybe cycling or something?
Yeah, well, me, I play basketball, so I might be able to make a pass without getting it stolen.
Jay, what about
play,
you?
but compare,
Shot put. Okay. Shot put. Jay.
No judo takers here. No judo takers. Oh my God, we'd be killed. No.
No.
I saw judo in Brazil. It was my favorite sport that I saw.
Fatality. No.
Okay, let's see. Blondvocalist. Matt, if you could only watch one movie for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Why one movie? You know what? I would have. That's tough because I want a comedy, just so I can laugh and be happy.
Tough.
But
it'll not be funny at some point.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of want action, a good story. One of my favorite movies. It's not a comedy, but just the original, The Fast and the Furious. I love watching that movie. Every time it's on, I'll, more often than not, I'll just sit and watch it the whole way through.
Just from watching you in the top 10 #1 YouTube videos, and you were watching that clip.
Yes.
You could see that you were a little like, oh man, you're really affected by even having to watch that clip.
Right. Yeah. It was Fast and Furious 7. Or it was a music video from Charlie Puth.
Right,
See you
yes.
again.
So you would pick the Fast and the Furious, the first one.
I would go with Fast and Furious.
Wow.
If that was the
I've
only
never seen
movie.
it.
It's good. It's really
I'm sorry.
good. It's a good story. It's like, guys starts from nothing, then makes his way to the top. I love those
Drake?
stories.
Start from the
Drake's
bottom.
entire aesthetic was taken from Fast and the Furious.
Oh, he's owed some money.
That storyline has never happened.
Be nice, Rob.
Started from the bottom. Now we're in here.
I think I'm gonna say Fifth Element. I think I would watch Fifth Element. Like, it was a toss-up with Shawshank, but I think I'm starting to get tired of Shawshank already. So like, not that you're not gonna get sick. This question is bad because you're gonna get sick of if this is the only movie you're gonna get a weekend and be like, well, this is terrible. But assuming you don't get sick of it super fast, I'd say Fifth Element.
Am I allowed to can I put all the Lord of the Rings movies together?
I was going to ask the same thing.
You could say one cut. You'd be like, I would cut the director's cut together and make one 12-hour movie. Go for it.
No, see, I need all those added scenes.
Oh, you need the DVD extras?
Yeah, all those scenes are so good.
So we can't just pick the Lord of the Rings
not
trilogy?
allowed?
You can.
Then the Lord of the Rings trilogy, 3 movies.
so
done,
easy.
and I would never
So
get
now we
sick of
can
it.
choose trilogies now.
We can take all the Fast and the Furious
all
movies.
the Fast and the Furious. All 8 of them.
All the Harry
Even
Potters.
Tokyo Drift.
Oh, well, I don't know about Toby.
And this is just a dumb question, but is Fast and the Furious on an annual release cycle now, or is it like every 1.5 years or something?
I want to say it's every 1.5.
Because it feels like it's like
getting
Assassin's
ridiculous.
Creed or Call of Duty. Like, you either get Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, or Fast and the Furious.
They keep making $1 billion. So they're like,
why not?
I got to make another one.
Some Harry Potter spinoff. Okay. Last question maybe here. MerrihootahteeUh on
Well done.
YouTube.
Good job.
Will we see any more React to technology videos in the future? And might you include other age groups such as adults, where you could have them trying to work much older, maybe antique technology?
No, go farther back.
So we've thought about things like that. We definitely have. The true reality, as the 5% hears all the time on this podcast, is that these episodes don't really perform very well, and it's not what the audience seems to want that much. So it had a run. There was like a good solid run several years ago where kids reacting to old technology was like the staple of the channel.
Then elders were able to do it too with
new technology.
Yeah.
And then both of them kind of have lost their luster to varying degrees, where for the most part, a lot of the bigger universal fans don't really like that type of content, or it plays into the recommendation engine issue where enough of a percentage won't click on it in that first hour that it just won't get delivered to the rest of the fans that want it.
Like it used to.
Correct.
The
So
new
a good
system
example,
doesn't
even
work that
recently, Kids React to Payphones, one of the best Kids
So
Reacts
great.
in years.
So
And
good.
everyone that watched it, I know, was going crazy for it. And if you haven't seen it, it's phenomenally good. But you can look at it yourself. I think it's not even at 700,000 views right now, I think. Which again, phenomenal view
to
count.
get that many views.
But when it's juxtaposed with everything else, we just can't do it as often because we need, like we were talking about earlier in the podcast, you have to do the episodes that are going to get enough views to sustain the operation to then be able to still filter in some of those really cool episodes.
Right, payphone happens because of the other episodes that we do that we know that a larger amount of the audience is looking for.
Right, that's why you'll see, a little bit more Try Not to Sings or Try Not to Moves because those get a lot of views to help support those things. So you will see more of them, just not in a frequent basis. There is going to be some cool stuff. I'll even spoil it here, where we are experimenting with these things when we come across them. So we actually got our hands on our great-grandmother's yearbook, her senior yearbook, that happens to have been from 1917, so it's perfectly 100 years old. Yeah. So there's going to be Teens React to a 100-year-old yearbook. Wow. And it's pretty cool, especially because it is like a family heirloom. And it was in phenomenal shape.
Next time.
All right, shall we move to the Rafi segment? As Rafi hates it being called?
Yes, it should not be called the Rafi segment. But so... Was it explained to Matt?
I don't think
this
so,
is?
no.
So while I'm going through this, I'm interested for you to be thinking something about either it could be a recent video that you've had happen where it's kind of about like interesting fan feedback that you kind of saw from it that you're willing to kind of talk about in a more transparent way.
Yeah, we try to just be like, okay, people were saying this. It's not going to be that negative today, I don't think. But even when they're like really negative, like we'll talk about it. We're like, all right, this is what people were saying. This is how we feel about it.
Right, yeah.
My laptop's dead.
Uh-oh.
But the first one was just came out today when we were filming this, which was the Guess That Song Challenge.
Number 5 with the teens.
Number 5 with teens. But there were some audience members that were confused because there were two different people
Chelsea
that were on
and
it
Leah, who haven't
that
been
already
together.
Right, that ended up being, they're 20 now. So they...
For months.
Right. So the idea is like, wait a second, we saw them all say goodbye and say, I'm now on Adults React. And yet here they
transition.
are in a teens video. What's going on? And this speaks to the idea of like, there's some of the shows that are done that are shot ahead of time and bulk shot. So these were filmed when they were still teenagers.
And also, they're not always filmed, in this case, too, at the same time. So it's not like in the same day, like a Teens React is filmed all in the same day. Some of these episodes get filmed over the course of an entire month as people are coming and going. So they film, and then weeks go by, they film, weeks go by, and then it finally releases, and you're like, oh, right, we have people that are no longer teens, and that's why that will happen from time to time. In the past, we used to be, even with the, we used to fully, even with like how the ages that it'll say in episodes, we used to actually just be like, what age are they when they filmed? And then that became too complicated to track, so it was just how old they are now.
Now I'm even trying to remember what the other one was.
Was it the Melanie Martinez thing?
What was
when to cover?
Yes, it was the Melanie Martinez thing.
Yes, Benny, you go into that
Sure.
one.
So we recently did college kids react to Melanie Martinez, and a couple years back, or a year and a half back, we did teens react to Melanie Martinez. So there's a lot of conversation inside of the comments about when do we cover something
Why do we
again,
do it
and
again?
why. And people, here's what I'll say, guys. Anything that we've ever covered, especially like music as an example, whenever we do it, people love it. And then they request it again, over and over and over again. Do it for this generation. Do it with every generation. We have dreams that somehow
every week we could put out every
generation.
Every episode that we do is every generation. But it becomes a thing of like, or the new song came out, do it again. So there's a couple of things at play. A few things at play. One is frequent requests. Because when we've covered something already, there needs to be a lot of requests for it to consider it again, to actually realize with certainty this is something that the fans are going to want.
Melanie Martinez was no doubt.
Always, from the beginning. So that was one side of it. The other side of it is, what is justifying it to happen again? Like, it needs to be something new and different. And in Melanie's case, she was still putting out all these music videos around that the Crybaby character forever. And it's an actually interesting thing that all this time, she's still putting out music videos that's a narrative almost about this character. And she had announced there's going to be new music. It's going to continue the story. She might make a movie. There was new things.
Usually it comes from like a new album or a new second movie or the TV show's coming back,
right?
Or
So
something.
there needs to be something new, and so there was new videos that were very Melanie Martinez, and like, but still in a different enough way to be interesting in a different way. And then the third one is, what's the conversation piece? Because it's not, again, we have question time, we talk about it, and if it's going to be the identical conversation, there's no point on doing it again. So like I was saying before, in her case, there was new information to talk about. There's elements in her career where she's at now. So we did it again, but made the choice to do it with a different age group, and even specifically made sure not to have anybody that was actually in that Teens React episode, in the College Kids episode, which we don't always do. Sometimes we like to have a few that had been in it to talk about the progression, but it still seems similar enough that we're like, well, we have enough of these elements, but let's make it be a completely different age group. So that's kind of a little bit of insight into the types of things we think about, but super requests is not necessarily going to be enough. It still needs to hit these other buckets for us to do it again.
So is there anything that recently you got some feedback on and you're like, yeah, you know what, I don't usually get to talk about that, like, and this is how I interpret that for my audience, and I might change or tweak something now, you know?
Yeah, so, or you mean...
Or in any sense, like if just like some feedback
Like
that
if
you
something
get...
underperformed and you saw some comments that you were like learned from, or you disagreed with, but you know, how are you going to tell them?
Yeah, you know what? I did a skit where, you know, I play this mom character, you know, based on my mom. I wear this Elsa wig. And yeah,
you're not creeping over into that territory of YouTube.
No, I mean,
Frozen Spider-Man, Matt Smith.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you know, all together, all in one, all in one.
Erica Spider-Man, you're Elsa.
But I did that, and I've done a few sketches with that character, and a lot of people, they would say they really liked it, and they say, "Oh, keep making these," but they didn't perform as well. and then I'm trying to find out what I'm missing. So I asked them, I'm like, okay, you know, what else do you guys want to see? You know, what could kind of help push it? You know, because I don't mind doing the videos, I like them, but at the same time, you know, it's like you guys said, you know, we want to fund the operation and keep things going. So yeah, I would make those videos. People comment, they really liked it, did well, a lot of likes, you know, not so many dislikes, but
it doesn't get the same amount as the other
views.
things.
Yeah, it's not the views.
So what did you get feedback yet? Like you asked?
Yeah, I got feedback. It's just more they want it to be based off of, you know, just something trending. So it has to have like a topic that's something like we're talking about, you know, if we're talking about like Disney characters or something, where we had to talk about, you know, I did a roast where I roasted, you know, did a rap, a diss track, you know, about some other YouTubers. And you know, people like that. But at the same time, they didn't like it because they're critical of the rapping skills. And I'm like, well, it's my mom rapping, it's not me rapping. So
because if it was me, then it'd be perfect.
Horrible, so it'd be perfect. But
my mom sucks.
Yeah, so you're in that same scenario of like the trends and like, because that's very much where a lot of your fans recently have found you, is through exposing them to new things, which is a lot of what our audience finds from our side too. But that's the balance. Asking about what about old technology? It's like, we want to do it too. What about a skit? I want to do it too. But there's just a reality of like
a more massive audience is going to want to see another one of the buckets even is to be topical and be trending. You view it almost
in a way of like this is, for a lot of people listening, they'd be like, what? But television ratings. And the idea of like your really top rated shows, sometimes if something's critically acclaimed enough, getting you enough accolades in a different way, the TV network will still fund another season of something that's underperforming compared to other things, because it can be sustained by the huge big TV show. But after a while, even then, it's just not enough, and the show has to end unless you're Netflix and you can bring everything back. So maybe one day we'll all become Netflix and we can just bring everything back. Because I'm sure there's even the oldest of videos, oldest of series. I'm sure you still have the diehards from that time saying, when are you doing this that you haven't done in 5 years?
Right. Those are how-to. I used to do a how-to series, you know, how to teach your son this, how to teach your son that. And, you know, that was like my first series that I did that started doing well and kind of got me that boost into like, hey, I now have thousands of subscribers. So, you know, that's a series I'd like to bring back, but it'd be, you know, it'd be a little bit different because, you know, I'd have to change a few things, but.
So we got to get to our shout outs from the people from last week that left the hashtag that I hate you both for, which was games with a Z that you then spelled 6 different ways on the podcast.
It was great.
It wasn't Macarena?
Too soon.
Well, what are you about to say? Because could I give one
I'm
company
not going to ask
update?
for a suggestion, but go ahead.
Yeah, just one company thing, which maybe we should be putting earlier.
It was earlier, but we got kind of sidetracked.
Yeah, we end up all over the place. But yeah, to maybe give you guys an update a little earlier about something from the company. So this is the first time that we're teasing this, which is that in mid-November, we're going to end up having it won't be for a ton of people. We're going to be figuring out how people get invited to this or how you submit to be a part of it. But we're going to have a FBE meet and greet for the first time. And that's really all we're going to say for now. It's going to be in LA. And we are excited to have something like this be the first time that we do this. Because one, like VidCon was a big moment of trying to see that people were really interested to come to the FBE booth, meet the staff, meet the reactors, and actually start to have, you know, what we're trying to do here in this conversation, have a way to have that happen in real life. And we had considered having something much larger this year, but honestly, we're trying to even figure out how many people would come to this.
And this is something that people want.
Yeah, with that exactly. Like the idea of making the podcast and us talking about the 5%, us making FBE 2 and having vlogs. My phone fell. If people can see that, I'm going to leave it there. That we are trying to get an understanding even of how many people are interested in these kinds of events. So we're trying to not think that so many people are going to show up. Instead, it's kind of like, well, why don't we start to see if we have a smaller meet and greet and have this fun event that we're going to have where all the staff and all the reactors will be at the same place and people get to come and meet us all and have some fun things that we're doing there. Maybe it then results in seeing that more people would want to come to that. We could have maybe a larger event for more people to come to. But you guys are kind of the first ones to hear about it, that we'll be trying to figure out how to get that information out over the next.
Should that be the hashtag?
FBE Meet and Greet.
Or just meet and greet. I was gonna say hot dang. Hot dang.
Hot dang, Matt Smith.
Hashtag hot DangMattSmith. No.
I mean, it could be the full thing. Hot dang Matt Smith.
Wait, FBE Meet-and-Greet hot dang Matt Smith, the entire thing?
Oh my God, Rafi, just
The entire thing.
stop it. It's hashtag hot dang.
Hot dang.
Hot dang.
Where did that come
dang.
from? Did I
Well,
miss that?
it was just a
I
suggestion.
guess he just was thinking when he hears that your name is DangMattSmith, in his mind he goes, hot dang.
Hot dang.
We're from the South now.
Got it.
HOTDANG.
If you want to do the false one, go ahead and do what John just said. If you want to say the real one, it was the one that I said before.
Hey, Rafi, tell the people at home who pulls the hashtag responses for
Not
the shout-out
me.
section. Okay, so I'm going
Please
to pass
help
these
John
along.
by making it hot dang.
Hot dang. And check out DangMattSmith.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so shout-outs to Elisa Lockman,
Anna Shaddix.
Anisha Nicole.
Ashley Happer,
Bernice Chu,
Brian Bolchi.
Brian Falk.
Colin Cormier,
Daniel Pical,
Effie Carta.
Elvin.
Flavio Kubero Noguti,
Grant Butler,
Harry Tyagi.
Jalen Silan.
Joseph Sutherland, Catherine Cunningham,
Christoph Horvath.
Kayun Bin Min.
Link Pitt,
Lisbeth Livingston,
Living Able.
LPS Rookie.
Marino Bryan,
Mods,
Maximir Butkovich.
Mellow Cheesecake.
Mr. Benenkantar,
Murdoch 2110,
Nathan Luke.
Peter Fontaine.
Pizza Lover,
Power Spin 1 game,
Prakash D.
Sarah Jiffy.
Shara Shamsuddin,
Stephen Joshua,
Tai Nguyen.
VDL Eagles.
Violet Conway,
Wonderton, and thank you so much to these countries. Again, if you're listening from a country that you hear or don't hear on this list, leave a comment just saying, hey guys, listening from, and that's where I pull these countries. There's at least one amazing human being that we are so thankful to have in the 5% in each of these countries. Shout outs to Austria,
Belgium.
Canada.
Colombia,
Denmark,
El Salvador.
Germany.
Honduras,
India,
Indonesia.
Mexico.
Nepal,
Netherlands,
Philippines.
Poland.
Portugal,
and this obviously Puerto Rico. There was somebody listening from Puerto Rico, so shout out to you as an American territory. You're very much in our thoughts this week for sure.
And Serbia.
Spain.
Go ahead.
Sweden,
Turkey,
The UK.
Ukraine.
USA,
and obviously very special shout outs going out to Las Vegas, Montana, Washington, Michigan, and Utah. Pretty incredible week. Very thankful to be with you guys. Very thankful to have Matt Smith here.
Do you tend to have even these things where you kind of look at your analytics and you're like, what the hell? How are all these people watching around the world?
Absolutely. I look at it all the time, and you know, a lot of times there's a lot of people in I want to say it was Afghanistan where, you know, just I would get, you know, viewers.
There's a Matt Smith. There's a DangMattSmith street team.
Yeah, so I was just like,
Afghanistan.
you know what? Okay. I need to start doing, you know, more shout outs to, you know, to different countries. And,
to whatever degree, I think we started noticing it from whenever we cover something from a specific country, or even when we would do a skit, they would have us say something
We
in
had
a
a line
language.
in a sketch that said, like, I'm Lithuanian. And then within an hour, there was everyone from Lithuania showed up. Like, that was on YouTube. Like, they're spreading the word or something.
Wait, what was the, was it the Netherlands video? Or the Netherlands
crazy.
react to Trump or something?
Where it was like 1 out of every, I don't know, 10 Netherlandians had seen the video pretty much. Because between our video and somebody that had freebooted it onto a Netherlands website, it had another like 4 million views. And it was just like, how the hell? This is crazy. But whatever, that's the beauty of what we all have, the access to all these people. But and that so many people enjoy your humor, like from all those countries.
Right. And that was the thing that I was talking about before, was, you know, being able to make somebody laugh or make somebody's day from a different country across the world, and you know, you don't know them, but they feel like they know you, and you know,
YouTube's incredibly powerful. Rafi's talked about it. I mean, we've all talked about it, but yeah, your ability to upload something like from your house and for it to impact somebody's life in Kabul is like ridiculous. Like,
within
what
a minute,
world?
It's like 20 countries
you know what
within
I mean?
a minute.
There's somebody in
watching.
Chicago and somebody in Kabul, and they're both watching the same video, and like you're able to share that.
You would only hope that brings us together more as a society. Even though I'm going to Mars, so
Rafi's piecing out.
I'm going to Mars.
Hey,
King of Mars.
You know, Earth problems are going to follow you to Mars.
I'll let you guys come eventually if you're interested.
one day.
How kind
But
of
by
you.
the time I get there, wait, how long is the trip? How long is that trip?
Isn't it like 2 years?
I think it's more than that. It's more than that.
Yeah. And so
you have to go into hypersleep to make it.
Yeah,
so I'm saying. So it might take a while to get in touch.
Because I worked at an attraction called Mission Space that simulated a trip to Mars.
And how long ago was that? And has technology not improved?
No, technology definitely
it's
not
very
improved.
dated. Ellen was telling you what the technology was.
No, this was not the Ellen attraction. It's a totally different attraction. You have it completely wrong. But I will say that this trip to Mars actually isn't a trip to Mars. It's a training simulation, even in the canon of that ride. And everyone will come off the ride and say, "Ooh, Martians look like humans." I'm like, you didn't actually go to Mars. You paid attention. This is a training exercise for the International Space Training Center in the year 2037.
And then Benny got promoted.
I did.
Benny was the comic book shop owner of The Simpsons of that ride, being like, actually, you were in a training exercise. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to Matt for hanging out
so much
with
for
us.
coming. Yeah,
Of course.
and being a part of everything that we're kind of doing here and stuff.
Absolutely.
Piece of everything right now.
Like I remember the moment where you were kind of coming to us and doing these things and being like, how could I be a part of things? How could I act for you? How could ever? And now I only say that back to you of like, how can we get you into more stuff as time goes on? Because it's been so wonderful working with you for the past year.
Been close to a year. Yeah, no, same. It's been fun, doing podcasts, YouTubers React, acting in bits and everything, being around the office. It's a really fun environment. It motivates me to, want to create more and, to elevate, what I'm doing to the next level. So.
Yeah,
King of Mars.
Well,
he's coming with me, guys. I need him with me.
Yeah. 3 things to remember as we leave the podcast. First is #HotDang for shout out next week. The second is please check out DangMattSmith. It's a very easy to remember name, DangMattSmith.
Like, dang, Matt Smith.
And then check out links in the description over on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/FBE, for links to how you can help and support all of our fellow humans across the globe right now, but especially those in Las Vegas and Puerto Rico and Mexico. So thank you guys so much for spending time with us. It's been a hard week. We are thankful to have you as a part of the 5%. We continue to be blown away that you guys even want to have this conversation with us. So tune in next week. Who knows who'll be here? But literally, we cannot guarantee that a single one of us will be here.
2 of the 3 should hopefully be here.
Somebody should be here.
And we'll see you next week. Later, everybody.